Hey, it's Steve. Are you looking for an inexpensive way to add structures to your layout? Well, you might want to consider building a paper structure. This is an all-paper model that I built from a kit I downloaded from TeamTrackModels.com. This only costs $8. You basically buy the kit, get a PDF file, you download it, print it out, and you can cut it out and build it. And so all you really need to do is get yourself a piece of poster board, a piece of mat board, a hobby knife, a cutting mat, a glue stick, and you're ready to go to build a kit that looks just like this. So this looks, I think, for the most part, pretty good. This is my first time building a paper model kit, so we'll go ahead and look and see how I did it, and I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. Okay, so I have everything I need to do this Team Track model kit. I have the kit itself, the directions. I have a lot of knives you can see here, and the reason why I have so many here is just that when I'm working, I can just switch from one knife to the next as they get dull. I don't have to worry about changing blades and all that. So probably have more than I need here, but I want to make sure that I can just work really fast and not have to slow down to change blades. Then I have some spray adhesive, some regular glue stick here, and then your regular PVA Elmer's white glue for assembling everything. So I'll be using this to do a couple of the pages where you're going to be putting this on like mat board and cutting it out, where the whole page is basically going on there. It'll just be easier to spray the whole page, put that on the mat board, and then use the glue stick for, for smaller pieces and that kind of thing. And then the pieces themselves will be glued together with the white glue. I also have my cup of coffee here in my Nick Offerman Woodshop coffee mug. So first I'll go through the pages here. We have this first page that has the roof, the floor, and then basically the wall structures themselves. This all gets put on mat board, and I've actually already done that with a copy here. So this is just the regular mat board you see in the photo or photography area of a craft store. So you can buy this in big sheets, and I've gone ahead and already used a spray adhesive and put that onto this board. I did that last night, so it'd be nice and dry and wouldn't have to worry about waiting for the glue to dry. And then they give you different options. So they have standard and Craftsman wall pieces. So these standard wall pieces basically have everything printed on them. You just use them as is. So you're going to cut these out, put everything together, no extra work needed. So this will go together really fast if you want to go ahead and just use these. Then they have the custom or the Craftsman sheets here, and these are a little bit different in that you're going to layer them essentially. And so you'll have basically a cutout for the wall section, and then you'll have cutouts for the doors and everything, and those will get layered on top of each other to create depth, and so it looks a little bit more realistic than just a simple flat printed image. So you can do either one. Obviously this will take a little bit longer, but it's not a huge structure that I'm building here, and so it shouldn't take too long. And so I'm going to do the Craftsman wall pieces and see how those turn out. Now most of these you just print out, but there was one section that needed to be put on poster board, and these are the standard interiors. They give you both interiors and the exterior walls, so you can basically finish off the interior, have open loading doors and that kind of thing, and then see on the inside of the structure. So anyway, I have these all ready to go, and so now it will just be a matter of cutting out all of these pieces. And they do give you very detailed instructions, so they talk about the card thickness to use for the different materials, and then basic ideas of how to cut sections out and fold them. So basically, if you're doing the Craftsman ones, you're going to be cutting out pieces, folding them on top of each other, gluing them together. And for the most part, you're going to be using the glue stick for pretty much everything except for assembling each of the walls, and they show you how the wall segments go together. But one super cool thing about doing these paper kits is that you can print 2, 3, 4, whatever number of copies you want of these, but you can basically customize this to be as big or small as you want very easily and at very low cost. So first off, I'm going to work on cutting out these segments here from the mat board. You are going to need obviously a ruler, straight edge, something like that. So I'm going to use the X-Acto knives for doing all the paper intricate work, but for cutting the exteriors, I'm just going to go ahead and use some of these big break-off knives, because these are stronger, knives, and it'll be easier to cut out through the mat board. Obviously keep the ruler on the part you want to protect, and then we'll just go ahead and cut these parts out. You might need to make multiple passes with the mat board, so you do have to be careful with scratching up your paper. I will leave this, I'm not going to worry about it. I might go back and replace the roof with another piece of paper later. I do have, again, extra copies. I can build everything and then just glue on a new layer on top of that if I need to. So the number one downside with these paper kits is that you are going to do a lot of cutting, and that is going to take you a fair amount of time. At the same time, because you are dealing with printed textures, you're not doing all the painting and weathering, at least as much, at the end that you normally would. So your build time can kind of vary in terms of what takes longer, and obviously it depends on the size of the kit. I'll cut out all these individual segments in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the poster board part and get these areas cut out as well. Okay, well, it took about 45 minutes to get to where I had all of these mat and poster board sections cut out, not even including these little ones. And so now it is time to cut out the paper ones, which should go a lot faster since it's a lot easier, obviously, to cut through paper than it is the mat board. All right, so after about an hour and a half, I finally have all the main pieces cut out. Again, I'll worry about some of these palettes and things like that later, but these will be fun things to add to the build later on. But anyway, now we're to the point to where we can actually start gluing things together. All right, so now we just have to basically match up our wall pieces here. So I'll start with one that doesn't have a window to be a little bit easier. So here's A and A. So basically we'll apply glue. Actually, what I need to do here is just use a scrap piece of paper for gluing, otherwise I'll get glue everywhere. And we'll align with the bottom. Need to glue the sides, then fold these over. Now I need the interior wall section A. Alright, so let's go ahead, apply glue to this side. And there's a line here that basically shows you where those should go. Alright, one of many wall panels done. I guess I'll just pick a random one here and do K. So folding all these flaps back is both easy and hard. Obviously they're small. You have to make sure everything is centered as best as you can get everything. Otherwise, you're not going to have the folds in exactly the right spot. Okay, so apparently I didn't do this right, because you need the doors that face the interior as well as everything that faces the exterior. Like this one here for K, that'll show through here, but then this K, is going to be on the back side, so you'll see it from the interior. Yeah, I misunderstood the labels here. I thought for the Craftsman interior, you're going to be layering up stuff on the inside too, but that's not the case. The Craftsman interior sections are the inside section facing outward on the Craftsman wall section, so you'll have 2 layers of wall sections. They'll just be glued back to the same piece of poster board. If I had read the directions closer, I'm sure I wouldn't have had that issue. Okay. So these will be glued back to back here. Alright, so I got 4 wall segments done, and you can kind of see how this might look and just build out your structure like that. So I think it's going to look pretty nice. Just have to do all the other wall segments. So it is going to take a fair bit of time to do all of this assembly, but it's not particularly hard. You just have to take your time and go through it. So I'm going to go ahead and get a bunch more wall sections done, and then we'll take a look at how they all look once they are all fully assembled. Okay, so I have all the wall pieces now fully assembled. So we're just going to use the regular PVA white glue and then start assembling everything to the floor base. And so I think we'll need A and B here. Oh, look at that. My 1, 2, 3 block is the same size as this floor cutout. Just slightly, maybe even just this triangle here with the 1, 2, 3 block on top. Oh, that's perfect almost. So it'll make it very easy to glue everything. So now I need to do this next piece and then do the edges between them. So if you're assembling everything with just the white glue, it's going to work fine. I mean, this is going to be a great glue for doing a paper building project. But you're going to have to, I think, take your time with it and sort of do things in phases. So I'm going to let this wall, I think it's pretty flat, let this wall dry, and then I can come back and then, work my way around and, like do like one wall at a time and then let it dry, I think. Get this stairwell glued on. Okay, so with everything glued together here in terms of all the wall sections, one thing I want to do is recover this roof since I did kind of scratch it up. So I'm going to cut this out. I guess I can maybe cut out both. So just cover this with glue stick and have a brand new roof surface. Okay, so I basically have everything about done here. I do have one more staircase to build for this side here, and I'm going to try to do a few of these little loaded pallets. I'm going to do those now, and then I can load those, or I can stack those up inside these open doors that I have here. Here's one. So I think pre-folding this will make life a lot easier. So yeah, doing each sort of fold one at a time on here. All right, here goes nothing. So again, you're building these little things with little sections of mat board like that. But once you have this, it's just going to be a matter of folding everything around. And all right, so there's one loaded pallet. Didn't do a great job with this one, but I'll kind of figure it out and get a little better at it. All right, let's add a little glue and add it to the inside of my warehouse bay here. Okay, have that one added in there. Should probably do at least a couple more. But I think that's all for this kit. It came out looking pretty good, I think. Let's go ahead and try it out on the N-scale switching layout that I'm building and see how it'll fit. So anyway, it was a lot of fun to build this kit. Now, when you go into this, there's kind of some things you have to kind of get used to. So when you look at it, you put everything out, you think, oh, this won't be that bad to cut out, but it takes a long time. If you do the Craftsman version that has all the windows where you cut them out and then basically have things layered up to make it look a little bit more realistic, there's a lot of cutting. And so you're going to spend, an hour and a half literally just cutting stuff out. And that can be a little bit tedious, especially if you're trying to be very careful with an N-scale model because everything is really small. That part's a little bit tedious. And then assembling everything goes fairly easily. It gets faster and easier the more segments that you do. You build each one of these wall panels separately, and then you kind of glue them all together. And that's really a nice way to do it because you can build and rearrange the wall panels however you want. It makes it super easy to kit bash this and build it however you want. So anyway, if you are looking for a cheaper alternative for the structures for your layout, consider a paper structure like this. I'll have a link to Team Track models below. It wasn't sponsored or anything. I just found it online and it looked like something that would be fun to do. And so I went ahead and bought a kit. Actually, I bought a couple kits. And so I bought another one that has sort of this green metal siding and kind of built the same way. But this one is strictly a custom modular kit where there's no predefined size for it. So you can kind of basically decide, you know, how many squares. Each wall segment matches one of these floor segments. You can basically decide what size you want to do, and then the roof obviously cut the size too. And then you can basically just do as many wall segments as you want. So this makes it really easy to do a structure as small or big as you'd like. And you can also just buy and print out some wall textures themselves, just a whole page, and then you could cut it as big or small as you need for your structure. So if you are looking to build structures for your layout and you're trying to save a little bit of money, consider one of these paper model kits. It can be a lot of fun to build, and it's pretty easy overall. Again, just a lot of things to cut out. It might be a little bit tedious for some of those bigger structures to cut out a lot of pieces, but again, it goes faster than you'd think in the end, because once it's put together, it's done. There's no painting and weathering and all that. And so the full build time for one of these kits, again, isn't that bad, even if it does take a little bit longer at the front end, cutting out all the pieces. Anyway, that's all for now, and thanks for watching. Bye.